hobby streaker, stripping down your hobby to its bare plastic. Hey everyone, welcome to the Hobby Streakers, episode 7, finally. As always, my co-host, say hi, Liam.
Hi, Liam.
I'm JG. So, let's address the elephant in the room. The reason we have not been recording for the last week, and you probably, if you're here, you probably saw my post on Twitter. My wife ended up at the emergency room on Sunday. They said gastritis, and we went home. And then the next day she started having quite a high fever, so we went back, and they started getting really worried, and she got admitted to the hospital. And basically, septic shock, her gallbladder tried to kill her, and so they removed the gallbladder. She fought the infection for a few days still. She's still on antibiotics, but she is back home since Saturday. And so, yeah, so it's just, let's just say it's been eventful. So, yeah. She's out of the woods. She's okay. She's recovering from the surgery and the infection and everything. And so, yeah, quite an eventful few days. Let's just put it that way. Anyways, so a few weeks it's passed. Liam, you're on 1,405. You just passed the 1,400. That is freaking awesome. That's just awesome.
Whoop whoop.
I passed 220. I'm at 226. Yay! It just sounds so ridiculous next to your score.
Almost a quarter of the way to your 1,000.
Well, no, I mean it's getting there. You know, it's and even with all this and well, I think it's a good segue to go into, but even with all this, I still managed to keep my hobby streak going. I have to say that I had a few boxes of Stargrave that really helped.
Yeah. Because
it's just Snape put stuff together to make cool little dudes and aliens and whatever and whatnot. And I mean, I did my medic while I was doing it. I ended up doing with the head that looks like Zoidberg, you know, in Futurama. I thought that was really funny because I'm like, yeah, that's gotta be my medic. But anyway, so yeah, so those kind of helped in what I did this past few weeks, and so yeah.
It's like we said in the very first episode. It's good to sit down and just do something to take
else.
Your mind off the stress of them.
Yeah. So well, anyway, so and I'll go over everything that I've done and the stuff that I've done especially. But today I gonna paint this dude, which is the Amazing Spider-Man. Really cool sculpt. Really dynamic. I mean, I don't know if I can reach the first instance of. Oh yeah, here we go. So the first instance of Spider-Man that they did, then they did, and when I say they, I mean more Atomic Mass game for Marvel Crisis Protocol. So the first one, pretty stoic pose. It's got a web shooting out of his hand. That's me adding. I don't remember how I did this. I think it's just some super glue and something else. But anyways, And then the next one was a lot more dynamic, which is Mr. Miles Morales jumping over a newsstand. So that one was pretty cool too. And the new one, is just... he's swinging, it's Spider-Man swinging around a giant tower, which is actually the Daily Bugle. It's a piece of the Daily Bugle, and with a big explosion at his feet, basically, and he's swinging around, and it's, you can see this is what's cool, is like you can see the progression from the first Spider-Man, which was in the core box, and this dude. Even just the sculpt itself, how the details and everything, I think it's gonna be a lot easier to do than the previous one. Anyways, so I'm gonna
they're consistently knocking it out of the park with their models.
Yeah.
It's
and we'll go over the latest news that they've done, but it's just it's nuts. What are you painting? You have seen that you already started, and you're already well on your way.
Well, on the show notes, I put a couple of options down because I didn't know what I was going to do. So my options were finish the Annihilators, or start putting colours down on some of these Vindictors. And I realised I'm really tired, so I'm going to do the easy bit.
Alright, and so what's the easy
bit? Rather than try and do edge highlighting while I'm tired.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. Alright.
So I did started 4 of them a few days ago. So there's 4 over here on the corner of my laptop that have got their blue on already. So it's just working out where I wanted to put the main colours on those. So just doing the rest of this unit. So I've decided to build them as a 10 rather than 2 5s.
Okay, so that's for your. Does that make a big difference?
I'm making these boys blue.
Does that make a big difference in the game itself?
In the game, that just means that you're, instead of paying, pull a random number out off the top of my head, 120 points for 5, you're paying 240 points for 10. And that just means that they're in a bigger group, and if you're buffing a unit, there's more people to receive the buff.
Okay, yeah, I see. Alright, well,
they're battle line, so
I've just put down 4 reds, and I still don't know which one I'm going to use. God damn it. So flat red, scarlet red, bloody red, gory red, or bloody red. It's basically what I have.
What did we paint or do in the last
3 weeks? Holy schmoly. Well, you had one pretty big project, no? Like you had your what's it? I can never remember the name.
I'm going to make you think of it, of what it's called. Because that kind of
something
vaguely...
chariot, something. No, it's the... Damn it!
I'm in a vaguely mischievous mood this evening for some reason, so I'm going to make you. I'm going to make you remember.
I'm gonna try to remember. And
give you a clue. It begins with an M.
Something engine. Mortis engine. There we go. Cool. Is that so? It. And that's your book thing, right? That is the main piece, the last piece of the
last piece of the Death Side of
this is what I was gonna say, because
Realms magazine.
You should get the other one also for the Stormcast, right?
He is due.
What is that one gonna be?
Shortly. Who is that? That is the Celestant Prime. Is going to be the the final model
And
for the Stormcast, and he's
there we go. Display auto
already
lock.
got the
There
base.
we go. Okay.
One of the last issues
Which
was
is
just
just
base.
Okay.
The base for the Mortis engine and the base for the Celestin Prime.
Okay, cool.
So
Yeah.
he's a large guy with really big wings and lots of swirling robes around him. And he wields Sigmar's hammer. And he's one of the lords of the storm hosts, in that he doesn't fit into one of the storm hosts specifically. He goes where he's needed,
Okay.
kind of thing. So you can paint him up. He's a special character that you can paint up in whatever color you want.
So he's not like specific, like you were saying.
Yeah.
The new guy, like they were showing, and that was specific to one specific faction or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That one can be
The Celestin Prime goes where he is needed.
Alright. Oh,
There was a
that's better, isn't
campaign
it?
book a couple of years ago where that he turned up at a battle, and as he arrived, his armor changed color literally to match the color of the people who he was going to fight alongside. So,
So that's a good way of being able to do that. Alright, cool. Alright,
so he's coming soon. It's like the first time in several deliveries I've actually been ahead of myself. So
Woohoo!
that's nice. I'm back on track.
Alright, so
Taking the opportunity to get some of the Dominion stuff out of the way, because as we'll come to later, I've got more toys on the way. Oops. So yeah, apart from that, let's just scroll down to remind myself what I did. Yeah, I finished a unit of Decimators.
Mm-hmm.
So they're the same kind of tier, I guess, as the Annihilators I've got on the desk. They're Paladins.
Okay.
And they've got giant axes that they walk around and hit people with. And yeah, I finished the 2 units of long strikes that I had.
Alright.
So it's not actually been a particularly busy 3 weeks.
Well, because that thingy
tidying some
engine
stuff up
was pretty big anyway.
I mean, the Mortis engine took me about a week, and that's one
just
model.
by itself, that was a pretty big piece, so it's understandable that,
Yeah, and I was trying some new stuff on that as well, so...
Well, yeah, so, me, whew, jeez.
You got a big list.
Yeah, well, because I tried a whole bunch of stuff. So, my Infinity Defiance, I started basically assembly priming of a whole bunch of them. I think about like 30? 2, 4, yeah, something like that, 20 something maybe. So I assembled them, which already was weird for me because I never did metal before. So that was quite an experience. I might have talked about it last time, didn't I? I don't know if I had already.
I think, no, you got the models out and you mentioned that you were...
I was gonna start...
semi-apprehensive about starting the metal stuff.
Yeah. So, metal stuff, yeah, still not sure.
Yeah, it's not the best, is it?
I don't like super glue. So, that did not help. That I had to do everything with the super glue. So yeah, that was kind of my first issue that I had with it. That was, yeah. And then, so, mold lines, not so much, but flashing, ugh, all over the place. So cutting little pieces of metal that are sticking out and all this is just, yeah, it's just a pain.
As someone who's come up through like the early and mid 2000s workshop sort of stuff, when half of their stuff was plastic and half of their stuff was metal and some of their stuff was both, I feel your pain.
But I have to say, the details on the models is pretty good. Like, it's really good. I actually ended up painting one, which is, I have no idea what her name is, but I mean, like, the details and everything, it's really cool. And this is what I was saying, that I wanted to wait for them to be primed to actually, like, properly appreciate how they are, because the just the shininess of the thing makes you like, yeah, like, yeah, I'm not sure how that will pan out, you know, like, you're not sure to, like, you actually see all the details and everything. It's weird. Well, and maybe it's just me, you know, like, you know, it might just be because I've never done it before and I'm not used to seeing metal models, but it just they look weird when they're metal like this. So, yeah. But again, once primed, really happy about it. Corvus belly, I mean, their miniatures are just awesome. Now,
So this guy,
sorry?
got a little, I've got a metal miniature that laying around on my desk that I haven't primed yet.
So what? Who's that guy?
That is a Norse scale warlord for Gripping Beast miniatures.
Alright. And I had a bunch of... So I did the Kickstarter, and so I can, well, of all the other stuff that I did some, what's it called? Stargrave. And so when Stargrave came out, they did a Kickstarter, which is kind of like Kickstarter, except that the guy that runs Red Star Miniature, his name is Nick. So when he runs, and it's not, alright, it's a pre-order. Like, he doesn't, so he's actually making fun of Kickstarter that use, well, of the company that use Kickstarter to basically make pre-order. Yeah. So he does a Kickstarter on his website, and what they do, oh, did I just, I think I stopped recording. Well, oh. So anyways, so probably there's gonna be a cut in my me painting this guy. So yeah, so he does the Kickstarter, which means that basically you get all the packs, and this one is troopers, mercenaries, and the last one is a crew. And then he adds more stuff as the more order he gets. And so we got a few additional miniatures, metal ones from like other line, but that would fit with Stargrave. We also received some gnolls. So one gnoll sprue and one cultist sprue, because in the game you can have either tribes, like primitive or whatever, and you can have cultists and pirates and things like this. So basically you can take your gnolls and everything and make them into a proper like a not a like a militia type thing or whatever, but they can. So yeah, so he added those in there, and I don't remember, I think a die in there too, and everybody, like, as he got more orders, he just added more stuff to the order basically. And so and I thought that was pretty cool. And yeah, and so I hadn't touched those in, well, since I got them, which was quite a while back. And since, yeah, I didn't feel like doing much, then I or starting painting those. Now the other thing that I did, because I wanted to print the rack for my GW paints, which I'm finally completed. Well, so I started printing it, and it's starting looking like crap, and so I needed to just do something else. And so I decided to clean my printer, and when I cleaned my printer I realized that the nozzle was screwed, and then the tube that goes, basically the filament goes through a tube into the nozzle so that it can be extruded. The extruder is on the top and then pushes the filament, because it's not a direct extruder, my printer. So anyways, and yeah, so I'm like, oh, let me cut the tube, and I cut the tube, and then I realized that I already cut it before, so that tube was way too small now. So I ordered a new tube, which came into a pack, which was really good, because that was like, it's 5, I think. So I have plenty for the next few years, because I don't change it that often. And I bought some new nozzles because I realized that I was running out of nozzles. So that was another thing that I did. And then I finally printed the rack, which is much better, gives me so much more space. So yeah, before that I designed some base for Infinity Defiance. I decided I was gonna try to make some bases, and so I designed a few bases, and I've printed a few of them, and I think they came out pretty cool. So that was another thing. Those are printed in resin. So yeah, I had fun doing that. It's been a while since I designed anything on the, well, I designed the rack, but yeah, so I was pretty happy with those. And if you're on our Discord, you might have gotten the file already. I will see. I don't think I've put the GW1. I need to modify it very slightly. But yeah, other than that, that was fun to do.
Yeah, finished some MCP models you've got on here as well.
Yeah. So that's so I worked on Omega Red, which I think is a really cool model. I'm not quite done. I need to finish the base a little bit, but I think, yeah, he's pretty cool. I like him. It's nice. So I did that. I finished the base on Luke Cage, Sin, and Falcon, which I painted last time during the stream. So I finished those. I started on Carnage. Yeah. So Carnage, the thing is, so all his weird black veins sticking out should be painting black. And so yeah, I need to basically paint those black, and then go back on all the reds that is in between to just re-red it, repaint it red. So that's gonna take me forever. So it's something that I need to do when I'm feel like doing minute work, which I wasn't feeling lately. So I'm like, I did it one night, and then I was like, no, it's gonna have to wait. Because,
you did have some nights where you go, right, I need to get this done. You start doing it, and you're like,
nope. Yeah, it's just too. I mean, I'll get into that state of mind where I'll be like, yeah, I'm fine, and I'll do it, and it should be okay. But yeah, and that's pretty much it, I think. Yeah. Yep. Like, of all the stuff that, yeah. So, what did we try? So I tried, well, like I said, metal minis. And making sci-fi based. I had done before some base for Cursed City, and they are on my Etsy, and I might modify those because of what I know now, and I will talk about it when we get into the 3D printing section. But yeah, now I started looking also at a lot of alternative sculpt, because so there's a few companies out there, Darkfire Design, Legion Miniatures, Skullforge, and Nuclear Firefly, to name a few, that will do MCP, so Marvel Crisis Protocol, alternative sculpt, like, and you will have characters that are not out yet. Like, some people have done Abomination, they've done all the What If. I don't know if you've seen that on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
So all the What If. So you've got, and so they cannot call her Captain Carter. So they call her Agent London or something, like. And so all the names are like this, and it's just
legally
funny.
distinct
character. Yeah, exactly. But it's still her, and and so they did the What Ifs, all the What Ifs. Up till, well, even the last one with the zombies and everything. So they've done, like, most of them, you can already find those. Some also have done, like, Loki, female Loki from Loki, and they've done, like, alligator Loki. So you can have alligator Loki and stuff like that. So it's funny. It's really funny to see. But yeah, so they've done that. Let me grab Mr. Spider-Man, because I think I screwed up. Yes, I did. Shoot. Anyways, so they're doing those, and then they're doing also Star Wars. So either of models that have been hinted, well, that have been, like, this is coming out soon, and so they've done those already, like the Wookiees. So they've done some Wookiee sculpt, or they've done, like, the Back Batch, which is also on Disney Plus right now. So they've done a few of those also, where yeah, so it's pretty interesting to see. Some of them are really good. Some of them I'm not that fond of. Some of the characters, like they've done a Captain America with the shield and the hammer, and he looks chunky, which I'm not a big fan of. But yeah, I started looking at those. There's a whole bunch of them, and I'm thinking I might just grab a few, but eventually. Right now I'm just keeping an eye on it. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. They've also done the Hulkbuster. They've already started doing that, which I thought was funny, because I'm like, yeah, that just was announced just now. But some people have already done it way before, just to have it. But yeah, So yeah, that's another thing that I've tried. What about you?
So first of all, I did some freehand on the Mortis engine.
Yes, I saw. That was nice.
So it's got a little book at the front, which is being supported on a lectern made out of a skeleton that is merged into the overall bone structure of the main carriage. So I've had a couple of people who aren't necessarily like hobbyists that I've shared that with, and they've looked at that and they've gone, "That's metal as fuck. That's awesome." So yeah, the book on the front of that is just blank pages on the model. So the magazine had some like tips of how to freehand text and stuff onto that. So I was like, right, okay, let's give it a go.
Because I would have done like a print on paper, super tiny, stick it in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would not have done the freehand. That's pretty cool.
I got my finest detail brush. I watered down some paint. I made sure that I was just using the tip and braced my wrists together and my elbows on my desk and all of that good stuff. I have a hand tremor that gets worse when I try and think about doing complicated things. So that was a real mind over body moment getting that done. And I only really slipped once on the big. So I did two sort of like big symbols in red, and then had lots of text in a darker, it's technically a dark brown. So that I only slipped once from what I was trying to do is.
Well, that's pretty good, man.
Calling that a win.
Definitely. Yeah.
And apart from that, since last time we talked, the Warhammer Plus is out.
Yep, it is.
So I've been on the Warhammer Plus, having a look at that.
Did you do the 3 months or whatever, or you actually subscribed to get the model for a year?
No, I went for the year. I was like,
cool.
I might as well.
So what's your take on it?
The animations.
Mm-hmm.
There's 2 animations on there at the moment.
Okay.
So they put the first 3 episodes up of their anthology animation called Hammer and Bolter.
Okay.
There are various stories that are currently all 3 40k flavoured.
Okay.
The animation style doesn't really do it for me on those.
Okay.
And they're about 15-20 minutes long.
Alright.
There's another ongoing series on there called Angels of Death, which is actually good.
Oh, okay, cool.
So that's, I think the next episode's up tomorrow, so that's 4 episodes. I think they're like 45 minutes each. Right. They're full CG. And like the Angels of Death is really stylistic in that it's black and white.
Okay.
And red.
Oh, I think I've seen some footage of it, yeah. Okay. Like Sin City kind of thing?
Yeah.
I don't know if you, yeah.
Yeah. But like, everything that's red is red. But everything else is black and white.
Okay.
So it follows some Blood Angels Space Marines, so they all wear red armor.
Oh, so
they've got
just,
red accents and everything.
They pop on the...
It pops out.
So they pop on the screen, yeah. Cool.
It looks really good. The only bad thing to say about like both the animations in general is that there's no credits.
Yeah, I've heard about that. That they don't credit at all, like who's the animator or whatever. Like, yeah, I found that weird.
So looking at it, I was like,
Yeah, it's kind of their thing, isn't it now? Like even
Yeah, I mean,
sculptures.
for the last few years, like all their books have gone produced by the Games Workshop's design studio in Nottingham, and just not had who's written them in.
Yeah. And same for like all the models. I don't think there is anywhere who's the sculptor is.
I don't think so anymore. No. So it's like when I got into the hobby, you'd be able to get a catalogue every year, and it'd list
Oh
all the
yeah,
models,
yeah.
and it'd have sculpted by Mark Bedford, sculpted by Jez Goodwin, blah blah blah,
Yeah.
next to it. So I don't know. I don't know what they're up to.
Yeah, it's weird. Well, there's the whole debate of, well, talking about intellectual property that we were saying has to be distinct. It's not Marvel. Yeah, there's been this whole thing about a lot of creators just going, yeah, I'm gonna stop before I get sued, because they know that they're just doing it way too well. Because they're not even like, it's not even they're sculpting something from scratch and then blah blah blah. They're just ripping it off completely, and so it's like, yeah. And then people get upset, and I'm like, well, I've back in the days, I had my own company, and we had a thing, and we had a patent, and it cost a fortune to to have anything that intellectual property to be saved, well, to be not even saved, to be, just making sure you're not gonna get it ripped off by anyone, cost a fortune. So I understand that they want to protect their IP, and they all do it. It's just to a certain extent. And I don't know who was talking about this, and this is something really true, which sucks, but they're like, yeah, well, if one day they go, oh, this is a little mom and pop shop, and I don't wanna, I don't wanna give them a cease and desist and blah blah blah, then somebody else is gonna come and be like, hey, I'm doing this, and then they're gonna be like, well, we're gonna sue you, and they're gonna be like, well, why didn't you sue this guy back in the day? And that's what people don't necessarily understand. They're not fighting the small guy because they're like, oh yeah, they're fighting the small guy because they're gonna win against the small. No, it's they have to, because if they let that small guy slip through the crack because they're like, oh, it doesn't really, like they don't bother us that much, blah blah blah, then somebody else is gonna come, make a fortune out of ripping them off, and they're gonna be like, well, you let that slide 10 years ago, so there's a precedent. And so we're not gonna pay, and that just sucks. And so yeah, it's complicated. And I don't think they're
on the.
I don't think they're that bad. I mean, it's their stuff. They have the right to protect it. But yeah.
More stuff on the plus. Is you've got some battle reports.
Yeah, how are those? Are those good?
Which are. Which is the other day, Mr. Nick Bayton from the community team confirmed that he is moving from being a painting presenter to being the battle reports presenter. So he's going to be...
Which one?
Nick.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yep.
The dude with hair.
Yeah. I've watched a few, and that girl is doing the master classes.
She's doing the master classes, yeah.
She's freaking good.
She is very good.
She's so freaking good at faces. It blows me away every time I see her. I'm like, holy
the first week there were 2 master classes.
Yeah.
There was wet blending and doing faces.
Yeah.
And faces were like a 20-minute video and using like 10 paints to get a face done. I was
No,
like, well,
she is good.
it looks good.
If you're not following her on Twitter, you should, because like
She's at
and probably on
Sughammer on Twitter and Savage
yeah
Orc Guy on Instagram.
yeah yeah. yeah. And that's the thing. So I was following her on.
She did an old school pink horror that she painted up that looks absolutely insane, and then you put black light on it, and it's completely different color scheme.
Oh, nice. No, I was following her on Instagram.
She's mad as a box of frogs.
Before I even knew she was like a Warhammer and everything. Has she been doing that for Warhammer for a long time, or? I don't think so, huh?
She's before she was the masterclass painter. She was doing
The
like
hobby
little bits of artwork in the
okay
in the books,
All
stuff like that,
and
then just doing insane paint jobs on the side.
Oh no, yeah, for sure. Like, and
So
it's
I don't think she's been. I don't think
colorful.
she's been like heavy metal.
No. It's not their style at all. This is what I was saying. Like, it's so colorful. When she does orcs and stuff like that, they just pop. They're just amazing.
I think last week was doing black power armor.
Okay.
And I haven't watched that yet.
Alright, cool.
Been getting behind on that.
So you have also like the app thing, no?
I've only watched one of the battle reports because they did.
Yeah.
First week they had an Age of Sigmar battle report and an Warhammer 40k battle report. So I was like, I don't care about the 40k one. I'm going to watch the iOS one. And it's watch a random average battle report on YouTube. It's at the moment they're nothing special.
Yeah, well, it's gonna be hard because there's some people have been doing that for quite a while, and they're just to another level. I think.
Yeah.
Probably the first battle reports that were done like on 40k. You know, so it's gonna be hard to get into that market and just stand out.
Oh yeah. I mean, they've got enough money to throw at it that they can.
And especially like you know, like I don't. You can go on YouTube and find it for free, you know. And I'm sure some people are doing it like as a Patreon or something like this.
Yeah.
And so I'm pretty sure that those you can find those as well. That are gonna be, you know, like Patreon exclusive or whatever. But there's a lot of report that you can find that are really good quality, and that's for free. So I don't think that's an added value for the service itself. I don't see it as being an added value.
Bit of the service that I haven't taken advantage of yet is the Vault. So they've got loads of old Warhammer Fantasy Battle books and old White Dwarfs that they've just uploaded PDFs of.
Yeah.
So
that's pretty cool.
Those will be something that will need to be picked through carefully because they will have some choice content I can get.
What about the app? Because I know like you have the app already.
There is
like,
no Warhammer Plus app. Technically.
No. There is an app that you get access to with
There's
your
the 40k app
that you get with your thing
that you get with that, and the Age of Sigmar app comes out on that in beta tomorrow.
All right, cool. So those are gonna be interesting too. I'm guessing if you're
The 40k app is a year after release, still buggy and broken, apparently.
Oh, that sucks.
So we're holding out hope.
Well, they might actually, you know, like, especially if people are paying for a service, they might actually think about putting that in there.
You're not,
you know, like
you're not
putting
technically
some.
paying. You're not technically paying for the app
Yeah, you have access
because
to it.
you can get the app without having Warhammer Plus, and you can subscribe to the app without having Warhammer Plus.
Yeah.
It's just if you're subscribed, then you don't have to be subscribed to
The other one.
both.
Yeah.
You can just be subscribed to Warhammer Plus and then get
Yeah.
both the apps. So
I hope they'll improve it then.
if you see me moaning on
the Twitter.
you'll have seen me moaning about it by the time you watch this episode. Loyal viewers. I think that's it. That's my unbiased reporting on Warhammer Plus.
Well, yeah. So yeah, well,
it's a thing that exists.
Again, yeah, I think you know it's just starting, and I think if you're if you are a Warhammer fan already, then it's probably pretty good to have it. I'm not sure if
you'll get the free model at the end of the year.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, which one are you gonna go for?
I'm going for the Orc Boss.
Okay.
Because not for the game system that is in a game system that I play.
All right, because there's the other one is like this guy on the
Vindicator assassin in the statue with his yeah.
It's like it took me a while. Like the first time I saw that model. The first time I saw the model, I'm like, why would you want a big statue head? And then I saw the guy on top, and I'm like, oh! But at first I didn't see the guy on top, and I was like, why would you want a big freaking head?
So, one of my friends plays orcs in Sigmar.
Okay.
And he is stood on / tearing apart a Stormcast. So I might paint that up for him and just call that a Christmas present or something.
Alright. Okay, I need to...
I just need to find out what his colour scheme is. And then I can do my guy, and he can have one of his orcs crushing one of my guys.
Alright. Come on, give me Atomic Mass game. I need to see the back of the mini. So yeah, we ran a little poll. Wow. 2 weeks ago now, at least. About basing. And so, how you like to base your miniatures and everything. And as usual, the thing is gonna pop on the screen to show you the poll. But basically, most people are saying they just do a complex base, which is putting some kind of texture, dirt or something like this. Usually for me I use Valero Earth texture. You are a crackle paint. I think that's your go-to. And so yeah,
mostly at the moment, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like that was 83% was like just people making their own, basically making their own base, and so I've started to do a lot of miniature with Marvel Crisis Protocol, and they all come with a city street base. So they all have their own base, and a lot of people are rebasing them and everything, and it's fine. But I've not really done that, so yeah. So for me, that was kind of like, I don't mind it with Marvel, like the fact that you just have to basically just paint that base and you're done. If you want to add some stuff, like they give you those little kind of crush can little water bottle, well, beer bottle, water bottle, whatever, and then those little cups and everything, and you can just paint those and add them to your bases, which I've done for Lizard.
Yeah.
And others also have done that for others, but Lizard I put quite a few in the water and everything. But yeah, so you can do that without any problem. But yeah, most of them, they come in with the base and the famous discussion of the tactical rock, which has been an ongoing discussion on the Facebook and everywhere about the fact that yeah, they all are standing on something, and usually so they're like, oh yeah, you need to have your tactical rock, and
do I have any tactical rocks
like
nearby?
You guys has to be standing on something, and so
Yes.
I always found that. And they're making such a big deal, and I'm like, well, Games Workshop do it too with a lot of their main character. They tend to have some kind of things like that where they just so like, yeah, why
Tactical staircase.
Oh yeah, the big alright, yeah. And that big lady too, like she already has basically a made base, yeah.
Yeah.
The base is already
She's
made.
called around the column.
So if you don't want to do if you don't even want to do a base, you don't have to. It's already there. I know that a lot of people are doing, like improving, and we all agree that Ashlyn did a pretty nice job on hers. She did a pretty cool base on that. But again, like she used the base of the base. Like what was already there, and you know, like the staircase and all these things. And I think that that's kind of where we at right now. There's this movement, and then there's the 3D printed base, and I think that that's, you can buy now cheap base with a lot of details on them on Etsy or places like this. I know you were talking about who the people that closed.
Secret Weapon.
Thank you. I was gonna say AK Interactive, but no, Secret Weapon. So talk about those bays. What because you were using those bays. Well, you still using them.
So they the suppliers for all the bases that I've had for my Iron Warriors, my Horus Heresy army. And they are resin cast bases. So they had sob sniff sniff. Quite a big range of different themed bases.
Yeah, so I was gonna say thematic, yeah.
In different sizes. So I've actually got down here.
Did you buy some more when they did their all closing and everything?
They didn't. They weren't doing any more of the stuff I've wanted. So I've got some urban rubble bases.
Okay.
That they sent me when I ordered some trench bases, and they sent me these instead.
Okay.
So these are quite rare now, apparently.
Oh, nice.
If they're not being made anymore, so
well, yeah.
They'll probably end up on eBay in in a month or so.
Well, if you don't use them, then yeah, and if you have no use for them,
I've got basing plans for all my currently ongoing projects, and that's like, what was it, 32 mil bases that I don't have a use for, so
yeah.
But yeah, I've got 4 or 5 of their trench work, secret weapon trench work bases in 32 mil left over.
Okay.
So I bought a pack of 10 for use with characters. And I don't have that many characters, so if Games Workshop put any more characters out, then I've got some spare bases for them. But otherwise, if I end up getting any more large bits of army for that particular army, I'm going to have to go elsewhere for my trench-themed bases. That makes me sad.
So, what do you usually do? Because those are thematic base, but
Yeah.
on a regular basis, what do you usually do? What's your go-to?
For the armies that I'm currently painting, which is the Stormcast that I'm currently painting at this precise moment in time, and my secret project, I've got some of the workshop technical / texture pots. So using those. So my Stormcasts, I'm spraying the whole model once I've built it a silver, like these guys were, and then later on down the line, sticking a healthy coat of the Agrellan Earth Crackle paint on, letting that dry overnight and crack out. Which kind of looks something like this.
Okay.
And then I'm putting some lead belcher over the top of that, because I'm having these guys be from the realm of metal. So in my head, there's like
their planet is metal,
dusting,
basically.
a dusting of like metallic compounds in the soil that you need to get through and clear out if you're gonna start like farming and putting any sort of agriculture into it. So I'm doing that, and then I'm putting some wash over the top of that just so you can see all the cracks. So that's my simple stuff. For the Tzeentch demons that have been languishing half finished on my desk for quite some time, I've been doing like a sort of ice theme.
Okay.
I don't know if you can see that through all the dust.
Sorry. I'm trying to do the eyes of Spider-Man and it's pissing me off.
These are very, very dusty. But
alright.
That's like a base colour. Built up some bits, put some snow texture on there, and then I've tried to paint around it to make it look like it's over a frozen lake, and I haven't quite pulled that off, I don't think. So
well, you can try different techniques and
yeah, that's why they're half finished, because I'm not happy with it.
Alright.
But yeah, I've got.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I have to say that I've done a lot of my.
Got my trench bases, a couple of my trench bases just ready to go. And actually, a few years ago at Salute in London, I was going to pick my trench bases up there, but nobody had any 32mm ones for some bizarre reason. They had some 40mm, so I've got some 40mm trench bases, which are for like bigger Terminator style characters and stuff. So that's that one. That's spare magnets. I found magnets.
Woohoo! Spare magnets. Free magnets.
Don't know why they're in there, or were in there, but free magnets turned up. Thank you, Universe, for blessing me with magnets.
So, just a side note. So, I'm trying. I don't know if you've seen this before.
Ooh.
Tamiya panel line accent to do the lines into Mr. Spider-Man's suit, because they are recessed and they're supposed to be black. And so this thing is shoes. I should have done that before, which is to look for the I might have to run out, because so this is not, it's not acrylic based, so it smells really strong, and you can get rid of what's sticking out with white spirit, which will not remove the paint. It's kind of like oil wash, like everybody's doing now. Whoa, a little bit too much there. But it's not oil base. It's another. I think it's I don't know what you call it. Like the old tester paint, enamel. But I'm not even sure if that's enamel. I don't think so. But yeah, it's pretty. The smell is pretty potent. And I had that for my Gundam. When I started doing miniatures, I actually started doing some Gundam, and so that was for doing the panel lines. Oh, it's actually working. It's actually working pretty well.
A lot of the
but anyways,
there's a lot of Green Stuff World rollers that my club are using at the moment. I think.
Well, so that I actually looked also at those, and I actually have never tried one or never seen the actual the ones for Green Stuff World, but I have a bunch, and I will put a link down below, most probably, and in the show notes and everything. There's a lot of people that are doing them 3D printed now. And so, yeah, they're pretty nice detailed. And I counted that basically it'll take you about 5 hours to print it on a resin printer, and will cost about 60 cents. So in resin. So I thought that was pretty cool. I was like, that's pretty good. Like, it's not expensive, and it is pretty nice. God damn it. So I need to find that white spirit.
My friend Leanne in my gaming group is currently using the Green Stuff World rollers to make a crap ton of bases for her Sisters of Battle. She's got all the...
I think you can do like a whole bunch of them like pretty quickly.
Oh yeah,
sure.
You can just... Because you just treating it like rolling out like a load of dough for like making bread
so
or
what
something.
Does he use as a... What does he use? Does he use Milliput or Green Stuff?
I think she's using Milliput.
Sorry, Milliput. Okay, yeah. Oh, and that's the thing. Is like some people use Milliput, some people use Green Stuff. Let me go.
I think she's using Milliput just because of the volume.
Yeah, because Green. Green Stuff can be pricey unless you get those giant rolls.
Yeah.
Now.
Or she's using, I think, Blue Stuff, just the Green Stuff World version.
Yeah. There's also Das clay. I don't know if that would work on bases. I don't know if you know DAS.
Not heard of it.
So DAS is basically, it's a air drying clay.
Right.
So you just do your thing and then let it dry and it dries. But it's not like Green Stuff World and all that. It's polymer clay, and that will just harden and be like resin basically. While the DAS is not, like, it's, well, I think it might still be no, the DAS is a polymer clay, but it doesn't turn into like an actual resin, where the Green Stuff World and the other one, the Milliput, will turn into like proper hardened. So yeah, and I think it might be a bit too brittle. I don't know. I'm just wondering if anyone has tried. So, because that would be interesting to see. Yeah, let us know in the comments below if you ever tried DAS as a basing material. I used to have some DAS, but it kind of, you need to close it, put it, like, if you want to store it for a long time, you might want to just vacuum it, like vacuum seal, because it will dry. And so yeah, you can keep it for a while, but it will dry, and so it's a bit annoying sometimes. And I think I had to throw it away. I don't think I have it anymore. Well, so my panel lining actually made it look a little bit darker, which is good. So now I can do the highlights. Actually didn't need the thing, but yeah, might just redo those. Cool. So yeah, 3D. So like I said, 3D printing base. It's starting to be more like, a lot of people like to print toppers, and I did some toppers for my for those guys. So I don't know if you.
Yeah.
So that's a topper. That's a base topper, and those were printed on my FDM, not even on my resin printer. They were printing on my FDM. If you do it on the FDM, and well, we might actually talk about going to 3D printing now and talk about.
So it's a nice segue.
Yeah, how to print based on a 3D printer. So, if you do FDM, there is one. Sorry about that. There is one setting in the FDM that is called ironing. What it does, and I done some toppers with and without it, and you can really tell the difference. So the printer does its filament thing, but then on the last layer, it will go over it again, slowly, with only, I think, 10% of filament being extruded, and slowly and basically just fuses and melts the surface and makes it smooth as possible. And I was like, let me try it. Last time I did some toppers, and the difference is just flagrant. I mean, you can, as it's day and night. One looks super smooth, and then the other one you can see the lines, and it will make the lines a lot closer to each other, so that when they melt and everything, that you cannot tell. And I think that it's a must use when you do your bases or toppers. Now,
yeah, because you want a nice flat surface to glue your models onto.
Well, no, and like you can tell on this one, you
don't want the print lines either, but
you can see the print line on this. Like, this is a zombie. It's supposed to be a enemy, so I didn't really care. I ended up spending way too much time filling those freaking lines on the other models using my 3D Prime, which is a filler that you use with the airbrush and everything. No. So do this. It makes it just so much quicker and such, like, just so easier. So much easier. Now, if you're doing a base that is resin, with a resin printer, and I will take one of mine out. So, and this one still has it a little bit, but what happens is when you print it flat, there is something called the elephant foot. And so what happens is the first few layers that you do on a resin printer are exposed way longer than like 2 seconds for the normal layers. The first few layers that you do are 30 seconds. And what happens when it does this is that it starts bleeding out. And so what you want to print and when you actually print it is a lot bigger. So there is a technique, and this is and I'll put the link to the videos of the guy that's doing it. To basically remove the elephant foot, what you do is you put a wedge underneath the base that is smaller and that goes up. Like, it's, if you can see on the camera, like, yeah, it's a wedge like this, so that the first few layers that you print, that is your elephant foot, will actually bleed to the same length as your actual base, and then they won't show up. Like this one, you can tell, because it's gonna be super close on the thing, that it still has it a little bit, but compared to what it usually would be, those are perfect for me, because I can just like sand that a little bit and it's fine. And so that's one of the techniques, because some people print them 90 degrees, some people print them 45 degrees and everything, but when you do this, then you got all the supports that does like dimples and stuff on the bottom, and I probably have a base somewhere that has those because I've tried a few different techniques, but that for me, that's the way to go. And so you need to know when you design them, and this is the thing, when I designed those, I made it so that the bottom wedge is 4 layers high, each layer being 0.04 millimeter. And so I actually designed it to be that way, so that in my settings, when I go and I say the first layers, I want 4 layers, and all my layers are going to be 0.04, and so that it exactly matches that elephant foot. But that's a big, like, that's one of the big thing when printing, and I think that I don't like them printed, when you start printing them 45 degrees and all this, it's annoying, because you get all those pits and bumps and stuff from the support, and you can do whatever you want, you're still gonna get those. And so yeah, it's for me, that's the easiest way to do it. Now the problem is you cannot sell, or you cannot produce, like, you cannot send someone this and be like, here you go, print it flat. You're gonna have to say, you need to print it at 0.04 layer high, and you need to have 4 initial layers, or it's not gonna work. And that's the problem, is like you cannot just be like, hey, here's the base, and just print it yourself. So the video I'll put, the guy actually goes into explaining how to take a file of someone that has like a base and then add a wedge underneath it, how to do it and everything in one software that I don't know, I don't use. But so yeah, I still not a, I wish everybody would do this and be like, hey, this is how I designed it. If you want to get the good result, this is what you need to do. Print it flat. This is your layer height. This is your thing. Do that. And so, and I think that if everybody was doing that, then that would be easier. But yeah, so anyway, so that was my take on 3D printing bases. Now, other 3D printing things that I've tried, so it's called STL Vault. And I've seen it in another group that I'm part of on Discord. And basically, you tell him what folder to watch, basically, and every STL that you put in there will be put in your library, where you can see a little representation of what it is and the name of it, and then you can organize them in collection and everything. And I thought that was pretty cool, because I have tons of STLs pretty much everywhere, and I need to install it in the computer downstairs, which I haven't worked on in a long time, so because I need to stay upstairs and everything. Well, anyways, and so yeah, a pretty nice program if you want to check it out. Again, I'll put a link. It's free. I think there is a paid version that's got more option and everything, but again, most people, the free version is plenty enough. There's no need to try to get the pro version. I mean, there's not a lot of software that I would recommend getting the pro version anyways, but so that was pretty nice. And then the last things that I wanted to talk about was Corvus game terrain, which I've bought a lot of terrain from for Marvel Crisis Protocol and other. He's got a whole bunch of urban things. He's got some 40k, some Necromunda, some, well, you know, like things that can be used for a lot of different games. And so he launched a Kickstarter, which is still going on, because it was a month, so it's still going on, for a travel paint kit that you print yourself, and that has different layers that you can stack and give you so one will have brushes and paints, another one will have a wet palette, another one will have place to put miniatures and so on. And so we talked episode 3, I think it was, about painting when you're super busy, and we talked a little bit about travel and traveling with, you know, like you were saying, when you're going to your karate camps and stuff like that. And so yeah, this is pretty much the solution. If you have a 3D printer, FDM, because you don't want to print that in resin, there's no point. But if you have a FDM printer, that's definitely something.
Or know somebody who does.
Oh, know somebody who does. That's definitely somebody. That's something that you might want to look into. I think the entire, it's like £15 for all the files, and they've unlocked already with all the, and then I think it's like 45 if you want the license to be able to print them and sell them, or something like this. But yeah, so you can check it out. Again, the link's gonna be below. There's still gonna be plenty of time to do it, but I think, like, yeah, his prints, his fonts have always been really good. They're super easy to print. I never had any failure. I don't think I ever did on any of his models. So it's definitely something that if you're gonna be traveling, or if you're looking for something that, you know, again, if you want to paint in front of the TV and stuff like that, and you want to have something that you can carry around.
If you travel a lot for work.
Yeah, or you travel a lot for work, yeah. That's definitely something.
Or you just travel a lot.
Yeah. You want to check it out.
It's something that people are starting to be allowed to do now.
Yeah. No, exactly, yeah. You know, if you're going on vacation, still, well, you might not receive it. Well, he's saying pretty much 2 weeks after the end of the Kickstarter is when it's gonna be available. So yeah. Anyways, yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool. So I'll put a link below on that. And so yeah. So now he partnered into, and look at that segue, Two Thin Coats, which is one of the news that we want to talk about, and I'm gonna let Mr. Liam talk about that. So, in the news, Mr. Duncan Rhodes.
I need to scroll down. Scroll faster.
Well,
no, that's past that. Okay, cool. Right.
Duncan Rhodes.
Yeah, Mr. Duncan Rhodes, formerly of Warhammer TV, currently of Mr. Duncan Rhodes Painting Studio, the Painting Academy.
And which
he's
is
got his
famous
own paints
catchphrase
up.
is Senior Paint,
Coats.
13 coats. So yeah.
It's his Kickstarter for his own range of paints has gone up. There's, what was it, 60 something paints arranged in triads?
60 paints and washes. 48 paints, 6 washes, and the rest metallics, I think.
Yeah.
Something like that. So yeah.
So he's got a light one, he's got a mid-tone, he's got a dark one, and
yeah, it's all in triad. Yeah, that's awesome.
So it's been like they've properly worked out how they're gonna like sell these paints to you.
Yeah. Well, it's
from
really
what some people have said. Some of the way they're selling these paints to you is because it's got Duncan's name on it.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So
we'll see.
Yeah, when we were talking about this on our Discords, we were like, well, there's probably going to be like some testimonials from people using them. They haven't shown up yet, as far as I can see.
No, it's only been him showing painting stuff with it and showing models that have been painted with those colors, but I've backed it up.
Yeah.
I like the triad. This is something that I'm missing for my Valero paints. I've looked at his videos. I think the paints are a good consistency, and so yeah, I don't know, I'll see, but so far, yeah, I'm keeping my, I'm a little bit disappointed in the pledge, in the stretch goals. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that they were kind of,
I'm like, minis, I don't care about minis. I want paints. Like, just give me more paints.
You can have some dumb-looking agitators.
Oh yeah, no, well, those were fun, kind of. But yeah, now for me, the thing is, just give me paints. Just give me more paints. I don't really care. Just add another bottle or two of our choice. Like, hey, you know what? 60 paints plus now you get. So they added like some blood effect or whatever, and I'm like, yeah, that's fine, but just give me extra paints. Like black. I'll take another black because I know that's probably the one that's gonna go first.
Yeah. And
so yeah, it's like, give me stuff like that. That's I would have been a little bit more happier about the whole thing. Like, just give me more paints. But other than that, like I said, he knows his paint.
Yeah.
Hopefully, and so a lot of people, not like, it's funny because I've not heard necessarily people being like, oh, the paint quality might not be up to snuff, basically. No, people are more like, yeah, you know what? What are gonna be the distribution of those paints?
Yep.
Are we gonna be able to find those paints later on? Are you gonna be able to restock your paint once the Kickstarter is over? Like, a lot of people are hoping it's not just a Kickstarter kind of exclusive.
There is no retailer pledge.
Yeah. So if they keep selling them on their web store, then that's fine. I mean, look at Proacryl. I don't think they have any retail of Proacryl paints. You can buy them on their website, and that's pretty much where you find them. So yeah, I'm not sure. So if they continue distribution from their website, then that's fine. Transatlantic Games or whatever the
people are actually making people are actually making the paint.
Yeah. So if that's the case, then that's fine. But that's what most people are concerned about, is that you will have your paint range. You will have probably one or two paint that are just gonna be awesome, because that's usually what you have. Some are gonna be good and some are gonna be awesome, and those awesome paints are gonna be the ones that everybody's gonna want, or that you're gonna run out of quickly, and then you're gonna want to restock, and then you're gonna be stuck and be like, hey, I don't have that paint anymore. So yeah, we'll see. But if I think that it worked well enough that they can extend the range without any problem. I mean, they've reached millions already. I think they passed £1 million, I believe. So yeah, that's plenty enough to to give money to put money into research and development, like into new paints and everything. And so yeah, I'm not saying they're gonna make contrast paint. I don't really care if they do, but if they extend the 60 to another like 30, or like, that would be another 10 triad of colors. And so for those who don't know, triads are basically, you get your shade, your mid-tone, and your highlights, and they're like 3 colors that are gonna be next to each other, and you're gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna paint first, I'm gonna use my shadow, and then I'm gonna use my mid-tone to highlights, and then I'm gonna do my highlights just at the tiny bit. Or you can do mid-tone, shade the darker areas, and then do the highlights. It depends on how people paint, but it gives you don't have to look and be like, okay, let me mix. And this is my problem, is like, sometimes I'm gonna mix paint and then you can never do the same mix again. So if you're not done with your highlights when you've done your mix to get your highlight colors, you're screwed. You're not gonna get any, like, you're not gonna be able to redo the same one. And I've kept paint in my wet palette, not to reuse it, but to have whatever highlight I had before, so that I can do a highlight that's gonna be one step above it. But I can never redo the same one. But I'm like, I've done with that specific highlight, now let me move into doing another highlight, which is gonna be higher highlight, and so on and so forth. But it's a pain. When you have a triad, you don't worry about it. Hey, what did I do last time? Oh, I did the mid-tone. Okay, let me grab the highlight color. Boom, you're done. And so I think that's pretty appealing. And I know that Army Painter, they do it, but I am not a fan of Army Painter. I do not like their paint. So yeah. Yeah, so that's the news. What other news
do you want me to do the rest of my news?
Oh, go for it.
Give your voice a break for a bit.
Go for it.
Because you've got a lot of stuff on yours.
Yep. Well, yeah, it was supposed to be only what I thought was gonna be, but then the event actually happened. So,
Right,
no,
so
it's not.
I've got 2 bits on my news. So I'm going to do the short bit first while I finish using the paint on my palette. So we have a workshop community article went up. I think it was either last night or this morning. Basically confirming that they'll be at Gen Con.
And they are doing an announcement, correct?
In a few weeks. And as they normally do, because Gen Con's a trade show where you do big announcements like this, they're having a preview event, and that is most probably going to be either it's going to be like a Warhammer community article live blog thing that they will update as stuff happens on the show floor, quote unquote show floor. I don't know how much of that event's going to be virtual.
Oh, do you think you're gonna broadcast it like they did all the previous one, or
don't know,
or because it's live they won't, so that the people on site will
it's probably just going to be like a live update blog on the community website.
That would suck because they were getting like what 35,000 people on their broadcast. I mean, it was nuts.
No, but this is going to be like on location, so they won't have like the setup there. They've got to ship all that stuff over.
It's too bad.
So they've got six games that they're announcing stuff for.
Okay.
So you've got 40k, which is the big one, obviously.
What do you think they're gonna announce?
I reckon it will be based on the rumor engine picks that we've had from Warhammer community over the last few weeks and months. Something Chaos Space Marine flavoured.
Okay.
Is my particular guess. So a lot of those preview images have looked on aesthetic for Chaos Space Marines.
Okay, cool.
The rumour mill for a while has been going, so
that would be for 9th edition, correct?
That would be 9th edition 40k.
Okay, cool.
So the rumour mill's like, that'll either be World Eaters or Emperor's Children. Okay. And I'm like, okay, I'm not super into 40k at the moment, so crack on with that. I'll be fine.
Horus Heresy, right?
Yeah. Horus Heresy is my sci-fi fix at this current point in time. Other stuff, they've got some Warhammer Underworld stuff to announce.
So that's Shadespire and the likes, right?
That's Shadespire, Beastgrave, and Diachasm are the seasons. So
they're you think it's a new season then?
It's probably going to be a new season.
Any idea where?
As far as the models go, I don't actually play Underworlds, but I've picked the models up because they are nice models, and swap them in for like unit champions and just like interest models.
Yeah, the vampires they had were pretty cool.
Oh yeah, I think the vampires were one of the most sold Underworld sets because they were very interesting looking Vampire Lord models as opposed to the actual Vampire Lord that they sell separately, which is the one with the hair with the bats in it. Which my brother has done a painting video on. If you go subscribe to Super Prototype on YouTube.
Cool.
So there was a preview for Underworlds this morning time, where they revealed a model from an upcoming warband. That's an Ether Wing. So
is that the birdie?
It's the little birdie. So that has me thinking that one of the upcoming warbands was going to be some new Stormcast.
Cool.
That's probably going to be like this kind of armor, like the slimmed down armor sort of stuff.
So you're gonna pick that one up.
So I'll pick that one up, just to have it, because it'll probably look nice, and
because Stormcast.
I like the Stormcast. There's also going to be some Blood Bowl and some Necromunda.
Alright. Any of those will be a new edition of the game, or?
No. There's probably going to be 2 or 3 new Blood Bowl teams.
Okay.
There'll be the next couple of supplements for Necromunda. Possibly some models for some of the factions that they're exploring with that. They've got the Kill Team logo on there. So the speculation in my gaming group is that they'll be putting out specific Kill Team boxes.
Yeah.
In the way that they put out when Warcry came out, like the Corvus Cabal and the Iron Golems and the blah blah blah. Just so you've got a kill team ready to go off the shelf.
Yeah, box specific. Yeah, I think that's the way to go.
And the 6th one was Warcry.
Okay. New edition?
I hope that's not a new edition.
When was the last one? When was the first one, I should say, because there was only one.
The first one was 2 years ago.
3 years ago. Yeah, so that's a new one. Isn't that their cycle is 3 years?
Catacombs came out last year, which was less of a new edition, more of like an update, sideways expansion type thing. So I hope it's not a new edition, because I've just tricked one of my friends into buying all the books for it.
Oh, that would suck.
If it is a new edition, sorry, Alex. Oops.
Well, yeah, and that's we're not gonna get into GW.
The edition mill, yeah.
Well, 3 years is a long time still, but yeah, it's not.
And the last bit of news that I've got is an upcoming Kickstarter for some 3D prints called Roma ad Astra. So there's this guy who I backed a Kickstarter for last January time, beginning of last year.
Okay.
Excuse me. Called Lunar Auxilia, which was a range of totally not
rip-off of GW.
It's not a rip-off.
It's an extension.
But
it's an expansion into an alternative sculpt.
No, it's not a legally distinct sculpt. It's a lean on the themes of. So, in the Horus Heresy, there is an army called the Solar Auxilia, which is sort of the precursor to the Imperial Guard, in that's like humanity's like elite mortal warriors, and the armies of that. They've sort of got like this steampunky Napoleonic kind of vibe going on about them, in that they've got like breastplates and laser rifles and that sort of thing.
Alright, cool.
So the Lunar Auxilia was sort of like the Chaos version of those. So they had like the Chaos Star etched into their breastplate, and they'd like big ruffed collars and blank face plates with big goggles on, and that looked really cool. So I backed that, and I've never printed anything from it because I don't own a printer.
I'll print and send it to you.
Well, there are people on this side of the Atlantic that I know who have got a printer. So thanks for the offer, but
I figured it would be
shipping.
easier, especially freaking shipping lately. Jesus.
So his next Kickstarter is Roma ad Astra, which is Rome from the stars. So there's a whole load of pictures floating about the screen now that I've put in the show notes that JG's going to have.
Yep.
There's
that's fine.
I've put shit tons of pictures in the show notes. So this is basically...
and there would be a link to the... Well, is the Kickstarter ongoing, or...
Kickstarter isn't live yet. I've got the link
here. Is there
here
a place to...
I've got a link here for the guy's Twitter. It's twitter.com/ThatEvilOne.
Is there a page where you can sign and say, hey, when it's live, give me a shout?
Yeah, Kickstarter.com/projects/ThatEvilOne/Roma-ad-Astra. Patreon.com/ThatEvilOne as well, for all of the stuff he does when he's not doing entire armies.
Cool.
But this is Roman-inspired drop troops. So they've all got like little backpacks with grav chutes on, so they're designed to be airborne infantry. So there's in the order that I've got the pictures up on the show notes, we've got standard infantry squad, got a standard infantry squad with medics. So there's a guy that is sculpted as a medic dragging a wounded soldier away. That's a second unit of regular guys. Command group. So they've got all like the wolf pelt over the top, and they've got the signifier.
I saw the sculpt. They're pretty cool.
Discipline cadre. So they've got big sticks to hit you with. I can't remember what those guys are. I think that's just more standard dudes or command squad dudes. More regular troopers. They've got some ogrins. So they've got the big giant ogres that are dressed up like gladiators with still like the presidium shields. And 2-person weapon teams. So a couple of guys with some basically Piat launchers.
Cool.
Other news, because I've just scrolled to the bottom to find that I've written some other stuff on here. Last Saturday we got the pre-order finally for the Stormcast book and the new Orc Warclans book, and the first couple of kits from that. So there's
some new models, no? Also, I've seen.
I've got a Knight Judicator and a Chariot on the way with the book. At the same time as that, they also put up a sprue that was in the second edition starter box for the Lord Arcanum on Griff Charger, which also comes with a squad leader for a different unit in. So they're like, yeah, you can get this Evocator Prime as well. I'm like, okay, cool. And then this Saturday coming, so tomorrow, if this comes out on Friday.
If. I will try.
Will be
if you're seeing this on Friday, then I succeeded. If you don't see it on Friday, sorry about that.
the second wave of the Orc stuff is going up on Saturday. I think that's basically the rest of the new releases for the Orcs, which hopefully means that the rest of the Stormcast stuff, fingers crossed, will be Saturday after that.
That's okay. Cool.
So I've got a week to paint a chariot and a dude with a giant bow.
When is the chariot coming then?
Saturday.
You already ordered it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Cool. I got up at 10 o'clock like a good boy on Saturday and hit the pre-order button. And I've got a friend who's ordered all the new Orc stuff as well.
I don't like that.
And
I don't like that. Cool.
Got some people coming down to club on Sunday, and we're going to have a new book off.
That's better. Cool.
Cool.
All right.
And then we've got your stuff. So we had the mini extravaganza from Atomic Mass Games.
Yeah.
So we've got a load of stuff here about what is planned to be going on, but this was in the past. So we now know what that is.
Yeah, because at first I was like, alright, so every day they were showing something like, this day is gonna be this day is gonna be that. And so I was like, well, like let me, kind of say, hey, you know what, I think that is gonna be this, that is gonna be that, and so on. But now that we actually have the
we get to play
extravaganza,
we get to play the were JG's predictions right? Asterisk. JG didn't actually tell anybody what his predictions were, so he can just say he was right.
Oh no, I was completely right on all of it. Like, yeah. I'm Nostradamus. I knew for sure what they were. I got, my people inside and all this, and so, yeah, I know. It was easy. Well, so they did... So the mini extravaganza, for those who don't know, they did the first one a while back, and that was only Marvel Crisis Protocol, because at the time I think they were only doing Marvel.
I think that's before they joined up with.
Yeah, I believe
FFG.
so. And so usually what they do is they go through, like what's coming, what's in the pipeline. They do some painting tutorials for some of the stuff, and so yeah. So this time, because I'm not gonna see this year, because I think it's the second one this year anyway. So their entire thing was the welcome. Then they do panel to play, and so panel to play, they usually go through the design process of the character and of the cards and the powers and things like this. So they did the Hulkbuster and Miss Marvel, which were announced, and I'm gonna say that they were announced before we did the recording, this recording, in between the two recording. I think they were no, episode 6 we talked about it, I think.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we knew about Hulkbuster and Miss Marvel, so they just went over like the design process and so on. So Hulkbuster, if you haven't seen it, looks like he's huge, and it looks like it's just holding by the little puff of smoke that's coming out of the base, and so you might think that it might topple over very easily, but actually it's pretty empty. So the model itself is just a shell, so it is very light, and so it actually doesn't topple over that easily. So they were talking kind of like how they got into design process and all that. Then after that they talk about Star Wars Legion, and the thing was Into the Underworld. And so Into the Underworld, everybody was like, well, it's gonna be the Syndicate, it's gonna be, like the Criminal Syndicate, it's gonna be things like this. And so people were right. Basically they announced a a starter. They don't call it a starter. I don't remember what they call it. A command set, I think they call it now. So it's not a starter set, which is, the starter box, which is 2 factions.
Yeah.
It's gonna be 1 faction, kind of like the boxes for Warhammer.
Start
they do those
boxes. Yeah.
Well, kind of maybe less than that. The other ones, I think they're called command boxes also, no? Like you can get the army, like part of an army or something. Well, anyways, so kind of the same idea.
The 40k ones are called combat patrols. The
combat patrols. Here we go. That's the one. Yeah. So
basically the same thing.
Same. Okay. So kind of like they're looking like they're gonna do something like this. So they announced, like, they showed the pikes, I think, or some one of the faction that they were showing. They showed Darth Maul, which is the version when he takes over the Mandalorians. So they showed the Mandalorians as well, but the Mandalorians in the Star Wars Clone Wars TV show, when he takes over them in like I think it's 5th season. I'm rewatching them right now, so and I'm about to that level where he takes over the Syndicate, and he takes over all the underworld and just grabs all the armies from the Hutt and the Black Suns and all those different factions. And so all those will be available, and they hid the actual faction that they were. It's all was saying redacted, but I believe, and a lot of people are saying the same, that first of all, they're going to be mercenaries, so they're going to be able to be added to any other faction, or you're going to be able to make one big faction of Underworld and just take the Hutts, the Pikes, the blah blah, and so on, and put that into one faction. Kind of like the scum and villainy in X-Wing kind of thing. Then they did some painting. Then Star Wars X-Wing, this is the way. So of course that was pretty easy. The Razor Crest is coming. Pretty nice model, all shiny metal looking, so pretty cool. I think it looks really nice. And they showed a few cards and everything. I'm not being into X-Wing, so I don't know.
I played a lot of the first edition, but I've not played any since the edition swapped over.
So then they do Tactical Rocks 101. So they're playing on this as well, but they were showing like how to do basing and with like, like terrains and stuff and rubbles and stuff like this. Painting armor, so priming metal, painting on top of metal with transparent colors, blah blah blah, to show the metal, like kind of like what I did on War Machine. And so yeah, exactly what you're doing on those guys too. So then they did Star Wars painting project, which was some of those guys. Alright, then they talked about a new product, and I don't know if we talked about that one, which is called Rival Panels. And so the Rival Panels are the MCP new thing where you've got 2 enemies basically. So the new one is Dr. Octavius, or Doc Ock, and Spider-Man, and they are basically in a little diorama fighting each other. And the more you look at the diorama, the more you can see stuff, and you can and the whole thing tells a story, and it's just amazing. And the thing is, so there's 2 placement for the minis in their base, but then you can remove those, and those are now alternative sculpt of the initial starter box. So this guy is the Amazing Spider-Man, the one that I painted today. The other one was just Spider-Man, and the new one is also just Spider-Man, and you will get the same card that was in the original box. So the card itself for the character as a foil character, as a foil card, sorry. So, and the same for Doc Ock. The version in the core box is pretty static. This one is very dynamic, but again, because they know how to do better stuff. But and then you got a massive piece of terrain behind it that holds the two characters, and those are just like it looks super cool. And the more you look at it, you can see that he's holding a beam in one of his claw, and you see a beam already went through one of the pillar, and you can see that there's like webs already, like Spider-Man shoots some web to that the whole thing doesn't collapse, and I mean, it's really dynamic, it really tells the story, and it's just super cool. All my Marvel Crisis Protocol, I get them through Team Covenant, and it's a subscription, so I don't even bother. They just send it to me when it's ready and when it's available, especially now with, like, you see some models that are already available in Australia and Europe, and they're still not here, so in the US. So I don't want to bother, so I do the subscription, and they started a new subscription for rival packs. Now, and this is, I wrote a few of there underneath there, things that I'd like to see as a rival pack. I'd like to see the Captain America, Winter Soldier, Iron Man fight when they're in that tunnel. And you know, like he's shooting the beam, and the Captain America has the shield, and they are all three of them fighting. I would like to see that. Captain America, Red Skull, with, like, you know, the explosion and everything when they're on the thing. Hulk and Hulkbuster now, because they're both of them here, but those ones, since Hulkbuster just came out, that will probably be way down the line. Thor versus Hela or Loki or others, Star-Lord and Ronan, or even like more of the those characters together, you know, like the Guardians of the Galaxy against something. Not sure. Black Panther, Killmonger fighting. Maybe in the suits or not. I don't know, but yeah, that would be a cool one. Daredevil against Kingpin. You know, it's like they can do a lot of pairings. You got another Spider-Man they could do will be against Green Goblin. I mean, you've got tons that you could do. The bunch of the X-Men you could do as well. So yeah, super interesting. Cannot wait to see where they're going with it, because I think like the terrain piece that they are on for display is just gorgeous. So I really want to see.
I know that there's a lot of people who are just buying these to paint them. So
Me,
the fact that they've gone,
yeah,
we could just sell people dioramas.
Oh yeah. And again,
that's smart.
They're getting so much better with their models, and they're going back to the, you know, like they. So now Spider-Man will have 4 version, because you got the Amazing Spider-Man, you got Miles Morales, the regular Spider-Man, and now you're gonna have an alternate sculpt of the original Spider-Man, basically. But they can do Captain America, multiple different things, you know, like different suits. But again, they can just do the original one, but in a fight against Red Skull with just a more dynamic pose than just sitting with his shield, ready to throw his shield. You know, like, you can see how much better they've gotten. If you look at the new Spider-Man and the original one, I was like, there's a big difference. And I think that they understand that people want to go back to the original, and especially, and we'll talk about this, like, but they're updating the cars, they're updating some of the characters and all this, so it's really important, like, it's really interesting. Did you just lose?
I think my camera just worked.
Your camera just died. Well, I'm gonna go quickly over the rest. The new Marvel Crisis Protocol that they announced is X-Men.
Yeah.
So you got Juggernaut, Rogue and Gambit, Colossus, and Magic. I had to actually look her up. I didn't know Magic.
I think she is in the New Mutants film.
Oh, that might be why. I don't. But
I
yeah,
think you put those pictures up on the Discord, didn't you?
yeah.
Yeah, she's
And
she's
she
the one with the
is
big sword.
yeah, and she
Yeah,
transports in and out of like she does portals and she can transport
yeah,
out of them and all this. And,
yeah.
yeah, so yeah,
New Mutants.
super interesting. Then they show the terrain piece, which is a crash sentinel, which means that at some point they might actually do a freaking sentinel that everybody's waiting for, which is gonna
About
be
that big, isn't it?
freaking. Well, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be like Dormammu size kind of thing. Like yeah. Some people have printed them 100 and they're saying 115 millimeters tall, so that's not too bad. But yeah, I think you can go bigger than that. Like yeah, you can do a pretty nice big model. They shown a blackbird in a video. A guy's holding a blackbird, but it's not there. So I'm wondering where where that when that's gonna come in. What else? So Legion has had a lot of point changes. It looks like they're updating some of the cards, like what's his name, Darth Vader's and things like this. So they also hinted at Ewoks. They've changed, well, which will go with the new style of box that you just came out, which is kind of mercenaries that you can either be by themselves or into different factions without actually being of a faction. Like they could be in the Galactic Empire, they could be in the. I mean, like it doesn't really matter. So yeah, it kind of like if you go Clone Wars, they could be there. If you go the New Hope and everything, they're there again, but they're different factions, and so they could be filled into multiple factions. Let's just put it that way. They've also hinted at changing how you pick scenarios and things like this because they realize that a lot of people are metagaming when they do that. That they know exactly what to not pick and pick because what will fit their armies and their list more. So some changes around that so that it's less predictive, which I think is a good thing. And then yeah, so again, not too sure. I don't play Legion, so I'm not 100% sure. I haven't listened to the Fifth Trooper or those podcasts in a long time, so I don't know what all the new stuff is. But MCP, which I know a little bit more, so they're updating. They are changing the cards from portrait to landscape, which a lot of people are pissed off about, and they're making them so that they can do multiple languages. And so they want to do English, Spanish, French, German, and I don't know, I think that's it. But anyways, so they're changing the format of the cards, and while doing this, they're also updating a lot of the powers and the things that are on the cards, and to basically nerf some characters and make characters that were done way back in the beginning relevant again with the new meta. So everybody's excited about Hulk because all of a sudden Hulk now is again viable, because Hulk was awesome when he came out, and then Killmonger came out, and then Hulk was just gone because you could basically kill him in one turn, which doesn't make any sense for something like Hulk. Or you stun him and his turn would be over because he could not do a lot of things because he was stunned. So now he's immune to stun, and you can re-roll some of the dice when you defend, and you're negating some of the damage that you get, and so on and so forth. And now like everybody's like, oh yeah, Hulk is back, and now he's a proper, so again, they're also updating the rules. You can take more cards and all these things. So yeah, all in all, I think really positive. A lot of people again are complaining about the cards themselves, saying that they are less appealing and less artistic than they used to be when they were in portrait mode, because now there's this giant white block of text, which for people like me that needs glasses not to read is actually better, and the font is a lot bigger too, so I think that makes it a lot easier for a lot of people. But yeah,
for Age of Sigmar we've got War Scroll cards.
Yeah.
So like all the rules for your unit, you can buy a pack of cards for your army that'll have like a card for each of the individual units on. They used to come portrait.
Yeah.
Which was, was alright, but if you had like a lot of rules, it was in teeny tiny Istro no text. Or if you didn't have a lot of rules, it was that much of the page, and you had like that much card of blank space.
Yeah.
And then second edition, they went, we're turning them sideways. And if you've got lots of text, it's now fold out, so you can actually read it. And everybody went, yes!
Well, yeah, and a lot of people are complaining about what MCP is doing, but I think it's good. And again, for a lot of people that have issues reading and all this, I think it makes it easier too. I'll put a comparison of the two on the screen. I'll try to have the old one and the new one to see the difference. And I think, again, we'll see how they do it, but. I think they might be able to do the white a little bit more transparent, and that would just make it easy. But less contrast, so I'm not sure. But anyway, so yeah, Mini Stravaganza I think was really good. A lot of things. They announced a lot of things. And I think that a lot of people were happy. I don't know too much about Legion. I will need to see. And again, listen to a couple of podcasts. There is the Fifth Trooper is one, and the other one is the something Scoundrel. I don't remember. But those are the two that I was listening before when I was when I was interested in Legion. I've listened to a couple of them once in a while. I just listen to it, but yeah. Other than that, that's my news. I've put Skullforge Studio. They launched their Patreon. I've talked about them before. They do alternative sculpt for Star Wars and MCP. So Marvel in general. So yeah, could be interesting if you want to take a look at those. Yeah, and that's about it. So how did you guys go today?
So
how's your guy looking?
I will take a picture and I'll stick it in in like the private chat on the Discord, so you can pop that up.
Pop it on the screen.
But everybody's blue, and the leader, the standard bearer, and one of the dudes have got their gold on. So starting to look good.
Alright. Cool. Well, I'm really happy with my Spider-Man. It's starting to look pretty good. I've done a little bit of highlights on the red and on the blue, and some shadow, and he's looking good. I'm really happy. Need to work on the eyes maybe a little bit more, but other than that, pretty good. Not much when you consider it. For almost 2 hours of painting, it's just one dude, but.
It's going to be a long one again.
Yeah. As soon as I'm done with him, the rest... Well, you mean the episode? I thought you meant my painting. Yeah, the episode is going to be long. Sorry. If you made it that far, thank you. Again, like, subscribe, blah, 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 all this stuff.
Leave us comments. Follow us on Twitter.
Comments, questions.
Follow us on Insta.
Twitter... Instagram will have all the pictures. I try to put all the pictures of the so that people that listen to it on the podcast can go and look on Instagram and see all the stuff if you're not a YouTube fan. And so thank you so much for coming. Thank you, Liam, again. Any final words of wisdom? Keep keep hobbying.
Hammers.
Well, yeah, you're all about your Stormcast.
Oh, spears at the
So-
moment. Shield wall.
Spears, yeah.
Pokey
Shield-
spears.
I don't. I do have a couple that have spears in my guys. Yeah. All right. Well. Again, thank you everybody for listening to us ranting for 2 hours, and hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, please send. There is a link below. There is an email, thehobbystreakers@gmail.com, and yeah, we'll try to answer your question and. Join the Discord,
Twitter.
join the Twitter, all that stuff. And
We're nice, we don't
hopefully I
bite.
can get that out on Friday. I will get my stuff ready to pick up my kid, and yeah, awesome. Thanks a lot, everyone. Bye. This has been an episode of the Hobby Streakers. If you're following us on YouTube, please leave a comment, like, subscribe. And don't forget to ring that bell for any future episode. If you're following us on a podcast, please leave a positive review. Thank you, and don't forget to keep that hobby streak going.